If you woke up today feeling strangely exhausted, or if you've noticed that your midsection seems to hold on to weight no matter how clean you eat, there is a very high probability that you are blaming the wrong culprit. Most people assume this slow decline in daily energy is just an unavoidable consequence of hitting 50. But here's what most people don't realize: it is highly likely not your chronological age at all. Instead, it is a direct reflection of an organ about the size of a football sitting right under your right rib cage, quietly struggling to keep its head above water. By the time we cross the threshold of 5 decades, our primary filtration system has been running nonstop, 24 hours a day for half a century. It has processed every environmental toxin, every hidden gram of processed sugar, and every spike of chronic cortisol you have ever experienced. Over time, that relentless metabolic workload causes a hidden, microscopic slowdown. But researchers at major institutions have discovered that a single specific cellular trigger consumed first thing in the morning can completely change this trajectory. By introducing a highly targeted compound into your system on an empty stomach, you can initiate a deeply transformative biological cleanup process, effectively flushing out accumulated lipids and cellular debris. The hidden crisis of the over 50 metabolism. To truly understand why this morning ritual is so transformative, we have to look past the surface symptoms and examine exactly what is occurring inside your abdomen right now. For decades, conventional medical wisdom suggested that liver health was only a concern for heavy alcohol consumers. However, a landmark study from Harvard found a startling global shift. Non alcoholic fatty liver changes are quietly skyrocketing in adults over 50, driven almost entirely by modern dietary structures, hidden high fructose corn syrup, and age related metabolic deceleration. Here's the exact mechanism of how this happens inside your body. When your liver is continuously forced to process modern refined carbohydrates and inflammatory seed oils, it rapidly runs out of glycogen storage space. It begins packing excess energy into microscopic fat droplets directly inside your primary liver cells, known as hepatocytes. As these fat droplets accumulate, they physically crowd the cell, disrupting the mitochondria. This structural crowding triggers a chronic, low grade inflammatory cascade throughout your entire hepatic tissue, releasing inflammatory cytokines into your system. The consequence of this cellular traffic jam is profound and systemic. Because your hepatocytes are structurally compromised, your body completely loses its ability to effectively regulate blood sugar, leading to rapid insulin resistance. This is the exact reason why you experience that frustrating, persistent mid afternoon energy crash that no amount of sleep seems to fix. Furthermore, when the liver is chronically congested with fat, it sends a signal to store energy. Why your current morning routine is sabotaging you. Most people wake up and immediately make a critical mistake that cements this sluggish state for the rest of the day. They reach for what they believe is a healthy breakfast. They consume a bowl of oatmeal, a fruit smoothie, or a cup of coffee heavily masked with dairy milk, oat milk, or refined sugars. First thing in the morning, your cortisol levels naturally peak to wake you up. When you overlay a high carbohydrate or dairy heavy food on top of this spike, you trigger a massive volatile surge of insulin. Researchers discovered that introducing calories, especially liquid sugars or dairy proteins, immediately halts the body's overnight fat burning state. High insulin levels act as a biochemical lock on your adipose tissue. When insulin rises, it suppresses an enzyme called hormone sensitive lipase, which is the tool your body uses to break down fat. The liver is forced to divert resources away from detoxification. The consequence is that your liver remains trapped in an endless cycle of storage rather than clearance. Instead of purging lipids, it spends the entire morning processing new sugars, leaving you bogged down. The coffee protocol. It's not just about caffeine. This brings us to the precise morning fluid that flips the metabolic switch from fat storage to active cellular clearance. We are not talking about a complicated green juice or a synthetic detox tea. Instead, the secret lies in high quality organic black coffee, prepared and consumed with a highly specific protocol. To unlock its true hepatoprotective power, it must be consumed entirely black, completely free of dairy, sugar, or artificial sweeteners. The scientific validation for this specific morning routine is exceptionally robust. An analysis in the Annals of Hepatology found that individuals who consumed this specific profile daily demonstrated a significantly lower risk of developing advanced liver stiffness and metabolic syndrome. When you drink this unsweetened compound on an empty stomach, its active polyphenols, specifically chlorogenic acids and cafestol, are rapidly absorbed and travel directly via the portal vein straight into your liver. Once inside, these compounds upregulate the production of an enzyme called glutathione S transferase, which triggers your body to flood the liver with glutathione, the human body's ultimate master antioxidant. This surge of glutathione immediately binds to free radicals, neutralizing oxidative stress. Simultaneously, the chlorogenic acid blocks the signaling pathways of hepatic stellate cells, responsible for tissue scarring. The turmeric pepper force multiplier. While black coffee provides an incredible baseline, researchers look for ways to maximize this effect using organic turmeric and a microdose of freshly cracked black pepper. Turmeric contains curcumin, one of the most researched anti-inflammatory compounds. However, curcumin possesses incredibly low bioavailability, meaning your digestive tract destroys most of it before it reaches your bloodstream. Scientists look to the active alkaloid in black pepper known as piperine. A study at Stanford showed that combining curcumin with piperine increases its cellular absorption rate by an astonishing 2,000%. Piperine temporarily deactivates the liver enzymes responsible for flushing out curcumin. This allows the curcumin to arrive at the liver at maximum therapeutic concentration, acting as an off switch for inflammation. Your liver cells can finally stop fighting off constant inflammatory damage and shift resources toward repairing damaged walls, clearing out stagnant bile ducts, and liquefying deeply embedded fat deposits. The 60-minute empty window rule. Understanding the ingredients is only half the battle. The timing is where the true biological magic happens. You must adhere strictly to this 60-minute rule. After you finish this morning beverage, absolutely no solid food, protein powders, or caloric substances can enter your digestive tract for a full hour to allow for a process called autophagy. When your body is in a fasted state and insulin is exceptionally low, your cells trigger an internal recycling mechanism, seeking out worn out proteins and intracellular fat droplets to use for energy. The compounds in your morning drink stimulate an enzyme called AMPK, signaling to the body that it needs to mobilize internal energy stores. Breaking this window early spikes glucose and triggers an insulin release. This insulin spike acts as a biological emergency brake on autophagy. Failing to protect this window erases the fat clearing benefits as your body switches out of repair mode and back into digestion mode. The longevity shift. The long term consequence of incorporating this targeted ritual extends far beyond just protecting a single organ. It fundamentally resets your body's entire lipid metabolism early in the day. Your liver is finally liberated from chronic survival and can transition back to metabolic optimization. It stops hoarding carbohydrates as fat and begins mobilizing stored fatty acids to be burned for active daily energy. Within just a few weeks of consistent application, the physical feedback becomes unmistakable. Many report waking up without morning brain fog, sustained cognitive clarity, and shifting stubborn midsection weight. If you are ready to take control, here is your 24-hour challenge. Starting tomorrow morning, try drinking your very first cup of coffee completely black, or blend in turmeric and a tiny crack of black pepper. Give your body a full, uninterrupted 60 minutes to absorb these active compounds. If this insight changed how you look at your morning routine, hit the like button so we can reach more people. Share this with someone who needs to hear the truth about metabolic aging. To join our community of health decoders and never miss a biological breakthrough, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Let's keep decoding the science of longevity together. I'll see you in the next video.